can be.
Right.
Lakers did not look like they had tired legs last night. Okay, and you cannot give a team like the Golden State Warriors, just give them a game in a series when you got to get to 4 and you're on the precipice. Because here's what could happen. If you sit your 2 best defensive players, now what happens? Does that mean Clay gets going again? Does Jordan Poole finally make an appearance in the series? So now you've got a whole other set of issues in terms of rhythm, confidence with guys going into a Game 6 at home with all of the pressure and ability being, this is our last home game. We maybe could have had it over with on the road potentially. Now we put ourselves in this position. You don't mess around with a team like the Golden State Warriors when you've got a couple guys out of rhythm.
Okay. It's a point well made. It's well made. I'm reeling. I'm not disputing the fact that I'm...
Curry is fouled, and it goes! Stephen Curry is putting on a show here in Game 4. Triple-double. Game 4 is a tight one. Walker hits another one. It's the Lonnie Walker game. And a 3-point game. Curry a long 3. No, and that's it.
We're just a resilient bunch. We just stayed in the fight. I'm tired as hell, man. Get out my face.
An unbelievable night last night, and you want to see just how tired LeBron James was when this game was over. He actually wore pajamas to his post-game press conference. I mean, he was so ready for bed when this thing was over last night. And here's my suggestion. LeBron needs to just slip a nice comfy robe over that pair of slippers and get set to watch Game 5 tomorrow night from the comfort of his mansion in wherever it is in L.A. that he lives, because he shouldn't even go to San Francisco. I'm going to make this point again, and I'm going to use a baseball analogy. All right, I'm going down with the ship on this theory. The Lakers have no chance of winning Game 5 of the series. The Warriors are going to be playing for their dynasty at home with the crowd. They're going to win. Don't waste any of LeBron and AD's energy on this game. Who's the best pitcher you ever saw in your... If you had one game with your life hanging in the balance in baseball, who are you giving the ball to?
Pedro Martinez.
Pedro Martinez. Perfect. Pedro Martinez. If you're winning 3-2 in a series, and I'm giving you the option, you're the manager of a team, and you can either bring Pedro back on short rest to try and close.
Like said, you give them confidence, you get a couple of guys in rhythm. Maybe Jordan Poole finds his game in that game against a lot of your JV players. Then what? Then they go on the road, and now they're all of a sudden feeling like the Warriors again. Remember what happened when the Warriors played in the first round, and we thought they were done also. They looked terrible. And they found their game. Then all of a sudden, that Warrior mystique was back again. You don't want to wake up the sleeping giant. Knock them out.
So that then leads me to ask Legs the final question on this topic. How interconnected are these games? Which is to say, how much momentum in baseball, to go all the way back to our baseball analogy.
And you get the "you mad, bro" from Dennis Shooter there at the end, because that's, again, to the victors go the spoils.
That's well said. You know, I want to give some love to a guy who I don't think gets a lot of it. We were sitting in the arena in Boston during the NBA Finals last year when Woj reported that Darvin Ham was going to be the new coach of the Lakers. And I remember Jalen Rose was sitting there going, this is a great hire. This is a great defensive coach. Everyone should be excited about this. And because he's not a name people knew that well, people didn't get real excited about it. I think Darvin Ham has coached his behind off in this series.
And I think Rob Pelinka had a terrible 12 months as the GM of the Lakers, and he's had a brilliant 12 months, starting with the hire of Darvin Ham and then the trades that he made this midseason.
Playoff game without even trying to win it from the very beginning for a team that has had nothing but great karma going for them right now, that would almost send them the wrong way. You want to continue to build off this. How did it work out when the Indianapolis Colts rested Peyton Manning at the end of that season?
And they made the Super Bowl. They wound up in the Super Bowl.
Well, they wanted to play the Jets, and what did the Jets do?
The Jets beat them that day, but then they beat the Jets in the AFC Championship in that same year and wound up in the Super Bowl. Manning threw an interception at the end against New Orleans. They wound up losing in the Super Bowl. What they didn't do was get the 16-0 record. I understand that. And they let the Jets sneak into the playoffs. But that was not the year the Jets beat them in the playoffs. The Indianapolis wound up beating the Jets that year. Here, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question this way. What would you bet that the Lakers are going to win Game 5 in Golden State? What odds would I have to give you to pick the Lakers to win Game 5?
It's very low, but to stay on the football analogy, this is the prevent defense. You step back. It's NBA games and series are so fragile. It's so fragile.
Yeah.
So here's what I'd say. I believe that the Lakers can win Game 5.
You do?
I don't think it's a high probability. I think they can win. And I believe that the Warriors can win the next 3. I don't think it's a high probability, but I think it can.
Are the Warriors...
So you got to keep that in mind.
Are the Warriors reeling? I'll just use the term reeling. As you watch them, as you watch the uncharacteristic mistakes that they make late, as you watch Jordan Poole, who has really not recovered, we are theorizing maybe from the late game mistake or the bad shot that he took at the end of game one. Are the Warriors reeling right now? And is that the best argument? You have them up against the ropes. Here's your chance to knock them out.
That's exactly why I pushed back. Otherwise, I might have bought in on what you're talking about. But because of the fact of how the Warriors are looking, especially late in games,
support that have the Lakers on the brink of the conference final.
And keeping everybody together, too, was the most important thing. And him as a former player understood how important the locker room was to keep together during the worst of times, 5-20 to start the season. And also you hired a coach who was an experienced assistant coach who put in the time already around the league to learn and was ready for the job.
All right, so now let's get to where we stand as of this moment. Let's put the graphic up there with the odds as of right now, because the Lakers, right before the playoffs began, were 14-1 to win the championship. Take a look where Caesars Palace sees them now, Caesars Sportsbook, as they are known. They are currently the favorites among the Western Conference teams, and they are second only to the Celtics. Right this minute, Legs, do the Lakers look like a championship team to you?
Definitely, especially when you look at the mix of teams that's left, there's no doubt they've got what it takes because now they've got enough depth. That was always going to be the biggest question. They're getting timely three-point shooting, if not elite level, and you've still got the two stars at the top. And this is a great defensive team at times. When Denver had won Game 4, we're up 3-1 right now. I think that the fact that Devin Booker's doing what he's doing in that series, and now that's a best of 3, I think now you look at this series, and a lot of people think this is over. I do not. I'm not counting the Warriors out yet, but I understand now why those odds look like that, because the Lakers look like they're in control, and we're not exactly sure yet what's going to happen in the other series.
So let's back that up a minute here. Legs is not counting the Warriors out. Alan, are you?
No, not for game. Not the series. I think might be over though. Because just by looking at the Warriors and how rattled they were late in the game, once again, late game execution, that you're not getting a lot out of anyone not named Steph Curry, that there have been pockets of this game where they feel like they're in control and then they just let go of the rope. They have been scatterbrained in this series, and really throughout the playoffs, they have not been the team that we have been used to watching in the past, but they have always found a way to pull out a victory, and so we keep needing to believe in them or wanting to believe in them, but eventually...
I like it,
right.
But I would say that one of the thoughts you have about the Lakers is whether Anthony Davis will keep up this. Because now he's played 2 good games in a row.
Right.
Now what happens?
And a lot of minutes.
But why do we keep asking this question? We're a month into the playoffs. Like, eventually, what we're seeing is what we're getting.
I know. I just would say that don't make the mistake of thinking that the Warriors are done.
Right.
They're in deep, deep trouble, but so many of their mistakes that they've made are manageable if they can get past what's going on up here.
There are a lot of teams down 3-1, and you know how it looks. And unfortunately, that's how I feel about the Knicks right now, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot. You get the series all the time, 3-1. Not this team. Not this one team.
The Warriors, you
mean.
discount
the Golden State Warriors down 3-1 because you know what one game can do for them if a couple of guys get going and they win Game 5 convincingly. Now you're talking about win one road game. A team has been to this many finals together, and every moment they've been in, play one game on the road to get yourself a chance back to get Game 7. I'm not counting them out.
That's one way to look at this.
This is the one team you don't go, it's over, forget it. Let's move on to the next round. Not the Golden State Warriors, not Steph Curry, not a group that's been in every imaginable situation and overcome it.
Which is
like
why
the final challenge for them.
Which is why what I'd consider doing right now if I'm the Lakers, because you just pointed it out. Anthony Davis has played like 80-something minutes in the last 2 games in order to win these 2 at home. He played 43 minutes last night. We understand that it's hard for him to put back-to-back big performances together. LeBron at his age, I think if I'm the Lakers, I punt on Game 5. They did it against Memphis. They're not going to win Game 5. They're not going to San Francisco and winning this game. The Warriors are going to be playing for their dynasty at home, last dance, last gasp, last breath, last whatever.